Thank you everyone for joining us today as part of our Entrepreneurship Speaker Series. Today we have Elizabeth Purpich, who's the founder and owner of the Elizabeth Purpich Collection. She's going to talk to us a little bit today about what it means to be a self-taught designer and found her own accessories brand. I'm going to hand over to Ekta to moderate. One quick housekeeping note: if you have any questions throughout, please post them in the chat or raise your hand. We'd love to have audience participation, so I'd greatly appreciate any and all questions you have. So Ekta, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Doug. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ekta Khurana, and I'm a second-year full-time MBA student for the class of 2022. And I'm really excited to introduce Elizabeth Purpich. Well, Beth has been designing accessories for more than 13 years. Her designs have been seen on the runway at New York Fashion Week and on the arms of notable celebrities, magazine editors, and fashion icons. Beth is a self-taught designer that has gained invaluable experience through the years and has learned greatly from mentors within the fashion industry. She mainly credits her first big break to celebrity and critically acclaimed designer Cesar Galindo by introducing her designs to a global audience with his Fall 2010 collection at the New York Fashion Week. What started in 2007 has evolved into a highly sought-after brand worn by fashionable women around the world. She holds an MBA in strategy and marketing from the Weatherhead. Today, it is my absolute honor to welcome her on the speaker series and to learn all about her entrepreneurial journey and tricks and trade in the world of fashion and luxury. Well, for those of all who didn't know, I did my summer internship under Beth, so I have 2 reasons to rejoice. Well, over to you, Beth.
Wonderful, Ekta. Thank you so much for the introduction. Yes, so Ekta was my lovely intern this summer, and it was through the program, the REP program at Weatherhead. And so I wanted to thank Doug and Professor Goldberg for making that happen. So it's a wonderful opportunity if you have your own business and you're looking to partner up and engage with a Weatherhead student. I highly recommend doing that, and hopefully you get someone as good as Ekta. So, well, my journey as an entrepreneur has been a long one, and it's been a really successful and challenging one as well. But I started, like you said, about 13, 14 years ago. I actually had a dream for a handbag, and that led me to design my own handbag, which I'm not a handbag designer. Now I am, but then I was not. And I had an MBA from Weatherhead School, and we looked at some different options. I knew I wanted to run my own business, especially in the luxury market, and it just kind of took off and went from there. But I know you have specific questions for me, Ekta, so I wanted to let you take over and ask away.
Thanks, Beth. And like Doug said, I'm just going to repeat it once again for everybody. Please feel free to mention all your questions either in the chat or raise hand option, and I shall call out your name. And now we get started. So Beth, it's very nice that you've already told us about the handbag, but what does the collection signify?
Well, the collection, it came about because I saw a need in the marketplace. I think that's where most entrepreneurs start, is they have a desire, a deep passion for something, or they recognize a need in the marketplace and think that they can do something product-wise or service-wise to fill that gap. And that's where I was, and that's kind of where my mind went as far as getting started. And that led to a specific idea about collegiate luxury. So I noticed there were a lot of high-end and luxury items based on collegiate loyalty and other areas like that. So there's that deep affinity for your university, for example, and that led to me thinking, well, there's not that many opportunities or options in the luxury space when it comes to those. And that's kind of where the Longhorn bag came in, which was my very first design, and it is still my best-selling design. So it's pretty special to me, but that's how the business started, and my journey started with that. And then it progressed to doing some more mainstream things, like New York Fashion Week and lots of trunk shows and pop-up shops around the country. And then now I'm kind of full circle coming back to the collegiate luxury market, which is really exciting because that's actually how I got started.
Awesome. Can I just ask this one particular term? I know a couple of people might not be aware, and I am still trying to understand what is the meaning of this term collegiate luxury, the one that you said.
Okay, so great question. So collegiate luxury. So we all know the luxury market or higher end, exclusive, hard to find, super high quality goods and products. And so that's the luxury. And then collegiate is your university or college that you get for higher education. So for example, I went to Auburn University, and that I did a collection specifically for Auburn. So I incorporated the oranges and the blues, the colors of the university, into the collection to pull on the heartstrings of alumni of the university.
Right.
So it was something specific for that target market and something that people had asked me to do. And that's where collegiate luxury came in. And I saw that there were a lot of handbags, game day bags for going to a football game or a basketball game or something like that. And they were, something that you would find at a big box retailer like a Walmart or a Target. And there was nothing more. There was nothing elevated as far as design wise to pull from and have a selection. So that's where I came in, and I said, I think there are women who, because I'm one of them, who would like something to show off and be proud of their school, of their college, and also be functional. So that's the handbag, the collegiate luxury. So it's an elevated luxury item, but it's specifically for your college or university.
So this is so good that you understood the need of the time, the demand of the time, and then you tapped into that sector. And everybody around here would definitely agree to the fact that we want luxury, but there's very rare number of designers who can do that customized product, and the one who understands exactly what you want is like a blessing. Tapping into that market is a great first step. The question next is, you've mentioned about that you did stuff for Auburn. Other than the universities, what is your general segment of society that you cater to?
Well, that is a great question, because I do say collegiate luxury and I do talk about the luxury market, but if everybody who has had marketing or consumer behavior or product marketing, we realize that luxury is a very, very small niche for people. And technically, I would say I'm not really luxury. I'm more of a premium product. And that is a big distinction within the small circle that we're dealing with. But to the general public, the word luxury is used probably too much, but that's the one that identifies with the customer. So that's why I say luxury. And it's a little bit more like a upper premium luxury brand. So a true luxury would be, getting that Neiman Marcus catalog, and you've got the one-of-a-kind experience of driving James Bond car on some ice, and those types of things. Those are luxury.
Got it. So tell us, it's a very interesting question, and I am per se very inquisitive to know, did you venture into fashion and handbag designing right after college, or you explored a while and then figured out that this is what my area of interest is and this is what I want to do for the rest of the life? Did you give some time and thought, or were you always so clear about it?
No, I definitely gave some time and thought. My undergrad degree is pre-med biology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my parents are both vets, and I thought I wanted to be a vet or a doctor. And I realized no, I'm more interested in the marketing of my practice than I was in the actual practicing of medicine. So that led me to go to Weatherhead School of Management at Case Western. And that's where I wanted to learn more about business. I wanted to learn things that I hadn't been given information before because of I was doing science and I had no business classes. But it was absolutely wonderful, and it set me up for the future. So I did that after college. Played a little basketball in between there, and came back and realized I had this passion for this entrepreneurial journey for my life. Like I just knew I wanted to wake up and be the reason why I succeeded or I failed every day.
Wow.
So as an entrepreneur, I wanted that option. I wanted that freedom. And so that's kind of where it led me. And it just naturally happened with the handbags and the Collegiate Luxury.
Awesome. Now, Beth, you mentioned that one of the reasons that you picked Case was that you didn't have a family background in business and you wanted to learn everything what a B school teaches so that you can start your own thing.
Yes.
Do you think that the kind of subjects that you picked had a great contribution, and maybe you can list out how students should plan the subjects which help them take on the role of as an entrepreneur later on?
Yes, absolutely. So being an entrepreneur is one of those things that you just kind of have it inside of you. And then going to Weatherhead just not only gave me so much information and challenged me, sharpened my skills that I already had intrinsically, but it also opened my eyes to different ways of thinking, especially going to the Peter B. Lewis building every day and seeing the different shapes from, the Frank Gehry design PBL building. You think differently when you're in a different environment. So that was really, really special for me. But the classes, I would say mainly because I am raised in a family of professors, is to take the class that the professor is teaching. So go after the best professors, the ones that have the reputation for challenging students, for producing the most interesting classes, the most engaged students, the popular teachers, but also look for the teachers that, specifically are in whatever niche it is. And doesn't necessarily have to be just total, like completely entrepreneurial classes, but I think if you go after the best professors, and I mean, it's pretty tough to choose the best professor at Weatherhead. You can try to do that, but I was blessed. I had just an amazing group of professors, and so I was actually taking classes that I really didn't have any interest in the subject matter per se as like for a future career, but the professors were so dynamic that it compelled me to do that. And that's the main thing. That's the main thing of learning is, and especially at Weatherhead, is the collaboration, the teamwork, working in groups on whatever kind of project you've got. That's, to me, that's what is the best takeaway. Yeah. And so I was blessed to have just the best professor.
I mean, this is a great piece of advice. I mean, I remember when we were picking the electives, most of the times the questions spin around amongst the student groups is what are the kind of subjects that you're looking at and what do you aspire to do. But it's such a refreshing take to actually think from best professors' perspective, which are the best professors or which are the professors under whom you want to gain that guidance, and then pick your subjects. And you never know how you will mold it, because it's right now exploring your interests and wherever that you can gain that kind of learning. And you're sharing the perspective of going through professors. I think that's a valid point. So I'm sure if there are students on here listening to us, they would have their perspectives changed right now. Now, moving on to a slightly different topic, and
Sure.
you're in the fashion sector and you know that fashion is changing every day, every second. How do you keep yourself up to the trends and in the market and in demand each time?
Well, that is the secret sauce. That right there. That is the question.
I know.
It's so important to be to evolve. I always walk a balance. There's a balance between creativity and art, and then also commerce and the business side of things. And so you've got to walk the line in between those if you want to be successful with your brand and also successful with your bank account. So you've got to marry the two, but walk that line in the middle. And so I think I think that
Are there any particular? Oh no, please go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think that in order to do that, you have to take a little bit of ego out of yourself for the art side, pull from the art side, which is a lot of ego, because you can sit and create a product or, come up with great ideas in a vacuum, and you can do that in your, in a basement and you're wherever. But unless you put it in the real world, which is the business side and the commerce, and test it, then you're not really going to know if it's viable for business. And I think that is one of the major things that a lesson for me to learn is that just because I love something as a product doesn't mean my customer is, and vice versa. So
right. So Beth,
Yeah.
I also wanted, because this is a forum and I can ask you questions. So
Yeah.
I know that you kind of design your own things with whatever you feel is creative, and you have your own unique collection. So what are some of the ways that you get creative energies from? I mean, some people feel that they read and they get those ideas, and it's the environment that impresses some people. What is that one element from where you get that creative energy?
I think it's through my collaborations and with the people I work with. So it's a lot about the people and the environment that I'm in. So I was talking about the environment, physical environment of being at Weatherhead, which I recommend anybody who's listening, watching, to definitely plan a trip to go just to see that building. It is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And the environment that you're in will dictate a lot of how you feel and what creatively is inside of you. And that just is like an expression of that. But the partnerships that I have, so I pull on my the colleges and the alumni, so the love of Auburn, so sports and that area. And then also the luxury market and my partners of like the Four Seasons and New York Fashion Week. And I stay close to them as far as relationship. I stay close to them to see what's new, what's going on, what's changing. I mean, my main market are guests that are going to resorts. So the Four Seasons resorts, Houston, Austin, Santa Fe, and Veale, those are the people that are buying my bags and my collection. And it's important to know what your customer's doing and where they're going. And so staying in tune and in touch with my partners, like the Four Seasons and up in New York and New York Fashion Week and the designers and stuff, that makes me relevant, and I get to stay in the know when it comes to products or collections that are coming out. Yeah.
So tell us, is there a particular brand or a collaboration idea that you have in mind when you're thinking about getting associated? I mean, just an example, yours is a handbag. Is there a particular, I mean, would you be just interested in experimenting with the new handbags, or like you mentioned about resort? Is there a fixed list of the associations or the people you would like to partner with, or you're open to experiment and something much bigger than that?
I am totally open to experimenting with anything much bigger than that. I've been blessed to have some great partners. My first really great partner was Cesar Galindo, the celebrity fashion designer who has an incredible resume and has become my friend and just kind of took me under his wing. Then we had Mercedes-Benz, Four Seasons, the Super Bowl, and then most recently during COVID, I started leaning more on my Houston-based partnerships like Republic Boot Company, and they're a custom boot maker here in Houston. And that just kind of was a symbiotic relationship of working with them because we had the same goals of creating these custom wearable pieces of art. And that just led to even more designs. So that was, the boots and bags, the his and hers collection. So being aware and reaching out to your partners, I think that's where the inspiration comes from, because there's so many ideas that I get from my customers, just listening to my customers, that they say, oh, have you ever thought of XYZ? And And a lot of times I have thought of it, I'll be honest with you, but no, it's always good to know and get the feedback from my customer. And that's why I love doing events and getting to talk to my customer face. But yeah, so inspiration, your question, inspiration from my partners and partnering up. And I'm definitely looking into working with new partners in the future.
Do you think that when you think about collaborations, is there specific ideas that you implement towards brand visibility? Suppose, I mean, it could be any kind of a logo or any kind of customized handbag or a new wallet or something that you do just to make the Elizabeth Purpich collection stand out. What are some of the things that you do to make sure that in a collaboration, although it's an associated work and two people blending in together, but the handbag collection stands out and leaves a lasting impact on the customers?
Well, that's a great question too. What I want to do, and I'm not a big logo person. So earlier when we talked about like kind of what inspired me to get started and the need that I saw in the marketplace was there was an oversaturation of logos on accessories in the marketplace. So there were logo bags and I'm kind of the anti-logo person, which is good and bad. So when making your mark and doing something that's specifically Elizabeth Purpich and wanting to be unique and different and be noticed and recognized, it's important to have that brand that comes through. And so the collaboration, I choose my partners very carefully, that we are aligned in the same, maybe not the same complementary products, but we have the same customer. And so we're both fulfilling the needs or the wants of the same person. And so then you surround yourself with people like that, and then it becomes a one-stop shop, and then you're able to give so much service and great customer service to this one customer, and it's incredible. Yeah.
And that leads me to the next point that I wanted to say. First of all, congratulations for your piece in Fashion Entrepreneurs of Houston. That's a fabulous page.
Thank you. Somebody very smart wrote that for me. Hector wrote that article for me.
Hey, people, everyone's listening. So, but I wanted to ask that, well, one way of getting closer to your audience is through magazines, like you mentioned, the power of print and social media. While there was this time of COVID, and we still have the Delta scare, well, let's not really talk about it. But here's the thing, when COVID was struck badly, how did you manage to communicate with your customers, especially the niche ones at that time? How often were the social media rotations happening? Yeah, I mean, how did you open to that?
Yeah, well, I'm more in the premium luxury market, and so that to me is not a sale, hit you with an email every day, post on Instagram 5 times a day. That's not where I was thinking. And that was actually wrong on my part. And I learned a lot from COVID, because people were secluded and people were taken out of their normal everyday lives, and they had more attention. They had bandwidth to pay attention to different brands and different messages. And so that's something that I learned. But with the luxury market, I tend to do fewer communications and fewer direct communications, but they're very verbose. So, I mean, I pack a ton of information into a newsletter, for example. And when I want to contact and reach out to somebody, I want them to get a lot of value from whatever it is that I'm sending them. So it's not just, hey, here's a sale that's coming on. It's more detailed than that. It's
Information, right?
More informational.
Got it. I see a question from Elizabeth. Would you like to ask your question yourself? You can unmute.
Hi there. Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I was looking at your website, and first of all, that Longhorn bag is absolutely stunning. It is amazing. It just, and it lends itself so well to the design and the tie-in. And I was just curious. I saw that you had the Auburn, I believe, the colored clutch there. Do you have plans for any other schools or?
Yes, I do. I'm starting mostly in the South. Just because of proximity to me. I'm based in Houston. So I have been working with Texas A&M up in College Station. So I've been doing a lot of maroon bags. University of Texas, I'm sold at the Four Seasons in Austin. So I'll do a lot of trunk shows and pop-up shops during the home football weekends in the fall. And some other schools, I'm open, like we were saying, I'm open to all schools and all organizations that would be interested in doing some sort of collaboration. So
Right.
Is there a particular school that you had in mind?
My best friend's daughter just started at Alabama last week, so I would love to see something Alabama related. I think she would absolutely go insane for your product. So.
Oh my God.
I don't know if they have a distinctive piece of architecture or, I'm not super familiar with the school, but yeah, I'm not sure if there's something that lends itself to, a creative design, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an SEC school, and it is the biggest rival of Auburn.
I was not aware of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is it's the biggest rival. So which that's so interesting. But what's great is there's no love lost between Auburn fans and Alabama fans. And I'll be honest with you, I will accept Alabama money all the time. So it doesn't matter to me.
Well, I've got a couple people I think that would be willing to give it to you. So
okay.
Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And isn't this what we call the power of collaboration, like right here, right now?
I love it. I love it.
Okay, so Beth, tell me that you've been pretty successful at New York Fashion Week and Paris Fashion Week, but how does someone who's starting the business make an entry into the fashion weeks? How do they network? What are the kind of people that you can network with? A little bit on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, again, like with the networking, it's like I think some people forget that networking peer to peer and on your level is so valuable.
Wow.
And a lot of people want to network above their station, above where they are currently. So if that's like, a seasoned designer, or if it's a big luxury house, like let's say Kate Spade or Coach or Louis Vuitton, they want to immediately go for that. But what I've found is that networking with my peers who are starting out and they're kind of new, or maybe a little more established, 10 years, or they have a different type of delivery method to the market. So they have, trunk show focused, experiential, event driven delivery method versus something that's in a store shelf or on a store shelf. So there's so many different variables, but for me, my big break, and I say it was a break, but it was just, it's like the more you do it, the luckier you get. And so I just reach out and I talk to people and I ask questions and I want to know about different people. I'm genuinely interested in other people, and especially in other colleagues and peers within my own fashion industry. And so Caesar was my big entree into Fashion Week. And so that's, having him as a mentor was absolutely amazing and opened so many doors for me. But I mean, it's once the door is open, then you've got to work really hard to keep that door open and then know where to navigate. But I would say the networking peer-to-peer on that, and networking just in general. But and then sometimes it's just a cold call that needs to happen. It's just picking up the phone and reaching out to somebody you've never met and you have looked at their bio on LinkedIn, and you reach out to them and you say, hey, I'm trying to sell you something. I'm a handbag designer. Don't you want to put me in the Four Seasons?
Wow.
And
I'm kind of making mental note of the qualities that you're mentioning. For a start, it could be fire in the belly and wanting to do something good. Second could be stay relevant and stay patient, because it'll come, but it might just take a bit. And stay inquisitive, ask all relevant questions to the people you meet in your network and to the people you're trying to extend beyond.
yes, absolutely. You summed it up perfectly.
Okay. Would you be able to share some of the marketing strategies that you've practiced or are practicing right now to leverage your brand to another level? If some of our listeners can make most use of it.
Sure. So I'm constantly trying to do collaborations, and I've gotten some big ones like with Mercedes-Benz. I did some little just little kind of carry everyday bags, and I did them in the colors of the cars, and so they gave those away to their VIPs at New York Fashion Week.
Wow.
In the VIP lounge. And so that was something that was a little foot in the door. Other things are, working with Republic Boot. And what's great is you get somebody who's like-minded as far as wanting to reach out and wanting to grow their business and their brand, then it's just exponential if you work together with them. And you've got different spheres that can collide, and then you just build on that. So I'm constantly, like we were talking about, I'm constantly looking to do new collaborations. I mean, we were talking about the collaboration this summer with the internship, and I don't want to say anything yet, but actually did a really good job of connecting my brand with another brand, and we're in the works on doing something fun. So at that right there is just the creativity and the ingenuity to see something differently and see that there's some value there that you can bring to each other. But I'm constantly, you know, the Four Seasons is one of my main accounts. And I have 4 different Four Seasons, and they're all individually owned. So it's not the same owner, it's not the same buyer, it's a different, everything is different. So it's
Wow.
it's really interesting.
I know. So we've spoken a lot about handbags, which is what you're doing, but do you have ideas, or has it ever occurred to you that you want to diversify, maybe just go beyond handbags, continuing with handbags, but go
Yeah.
beyond, add something more to the family?
Yes, I do. I would love to get into some more apparel, more apparel related. I'm a very I have a two things that I require for every handbag, or all of my accessories. It's the little black dress and the blue jeans test.
Yes.
And so every product I have has to be able to go with either jeans and a little black dress. The versatility is something I'm really interested in. So if I were to do another product, for example, I would do something that's very versatile type of a product, because I don't want to pigeonhole myself as just the event gala designer, or just the everyday, you know, the everyday go to the beach designer.
Right.
I want there to be somewhere that meets in the middle. So that could be any type of apparel. So like shirts, dresses,
Yeah,
pants.
I mean, you can wear it to formal wear, and you can even wear it with your friends when you're going out for an evening lounge kind of a thing. It's wearable at both the places, adds value, right?
Yes. Thank you. Oh, yes. Yes. The versatility is something I'm all about the versatility.
Got it. So, Beth, luxury as an industry has been hit by COVID, with stores being closed. And like you mentioned, that Four Seasons is the biggest account. But when the travel was also a little stuck and people weren't traveling, what were some of the ways that you still maintained touch with all of those customers? Was it the time when you utilized towards more on the creative side, designing it at that time more, and then launching now that the things are opening, but we're keeping the Delta scare off for the moment? How did you better utilize that time?
Well, it was actually a very calm moment. I know the world was not calm, but for me, I got to slow down a little bit and really think about the positioning of my brand and where I wanted to see the growth when the world opened back up and got to I could get back to my bread and butter, which is doing the event marketing and the experiential sales. But that the COVID allowed me to be more creative, to think about design, to think about function, and really start to get creative with collaborations and look at new ways to approach my business. So it's and I did a lot of handwritten notes to my customers, because
Wow.
they're, you know, something I learned from my mom. A handwritten note is worth everything. It's lost art. So especially if you're in the luxury market, the luxury retail space, a handwritten note on nice stationery, just to let your customer know that you're thinking about them, and that although they may not be able to use your bag, use their Elizabeth Purpich bag to go anywhere because we're all staying at home, you're still thinking about them and looking forward to the opportunity when they get to do that.
Totally. So we're coming towards the close of the speaker series. And this is the last question that I'm going to ask, and I think is actually the most important question. What is the one piece of advice that you would like to give to all the students or budding entrepreneurs as they take the risk in the fashion and luxury domain?
This is it right here. My biggest would be advice would be to find a mentor and ask that person. So and I'm offering myself, if anybody wants to shoot me an email and has a question for follow-up after this, I'd be happy to talk to you. But what I found is I can learn a lot faster and I can make more mistakes, but quicker mistakes, if I have a coach coaching me, or if I have somebody to bounce an idea off of that's already been there. So I don't have to go through all of the ups and downs of running a luxury business when I don't know anything.
Right.
And especially designing handbags, because all of my designs I'm self-taught, so they're all trial and error. And so having a mentor to kind of help you along, and you can have more than one, and you can look to a professor that you have at Weatherhead. You can look to, your mom who has insight on certain, whatever it is. There's a lot of information out there, and I think it's just surrounding yourself with those mentors.
Well, Beth, it's a wrap, and thank you so much for sharing so great insights and so much of knowledge. And I have certainly made my notes. I know what the points are.
Thank you.
And now I'll pass it over to Doug.
Thank you, Ekta, and thank you, Beth, so much for joining us for today's session. We greatly appreciate getting to hear from our alums and the successful work that they're doing. We hope that you all join us next week with Andrew Lonsberry, who's the co-founder and CEO of Path Robotics, and he's going to talk about his AI company and how they're revolutionizing the welding industry. So have a great rest of your week, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.